Hello everyone, I just wanted to intro this video really quickly because in the video you're about to see, I am extremely pregnant. I think I'm like 38 and a half weeks or something like that. I took a couple weeks off because I have given birth. Just wanted to give the update that everything went really well. I'm feeling good. Our son has arrived. He is perfect and we are settling into parenthood. So that's an exciting update. Just wanted to give a little intro for that. But the videos you're gonna see the next 2 weeks are gonna be ones that I pre-recorded when I was very pregnant, and then we'll move into kind of the postpartum videos. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any of those, because I cannot wait to keep making videos about homesteading, homemaking, and motherhood. Thanks for being along for the ride, and I hope you enjoy this pre-recorded video of me making challah bread. Hello everyone, welcome to Semi Homesteading with Abby. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's video and welcome to my channel. Today we are making some challah bread. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you may know that I'm trying to make a new type of bread every single month as part of the Make Bread 365 challenge on Instagram. I will link the account that's running it below, link her blog, it's great. But the challenge for May, which I'm a little bit late on, it's fine, is to make an artisan loaf. Now I didn't exactly know what that meant, but I've been wanting to make challah bread for a while, and technically I read somewhere that I think challah bread counts as an artisan loaf. My family's gonna come over tomorrow, so I figure this is a good time to make a big loaf and have everyone split it. So my husband and I don't have to eat an entire loaf by ourselves. We can divide and conquer throughout the family. So I will be serving it tomorrow just as a little side. But I've been really loving, making these new types of bread and really expanding my knowledge with homemade items. So this is just continuing on in that little adventure. Let's get right into it and let's start making some challah bread. Now, as with most non-sourdough bread recipes, you start with activating your yeast. So it's just 2 teaspoons of the instant yeast and a cup of lukewarm water. I mix that together and I just set that aside. While that was activating and getting all nice and bubbly, I started putting together the rest of the dough ingredients. So it was 4 cups of flour. Now it says 4 to 4.5 cups in the recipe, and I started on the low end because you can always add flour, you can't take it away, so I didn't want it to be too dry right away. So I did 4, and I had to add a little bit more in later, but you'll see that in a little bit. Then you do a 1/4 cup of sugar, some salt, 2 teaspoons of salt, and then you add a couple eggs. Now you add 2 large eggs and then 1 additional egg yolk, and you save that additional egg white for the topping later to make sure that your bread gets all nice and brown. So I added 2 full eggs and 1 egg yolk. Then you also add a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I just used regular standard canola oil, but you can use anything that's kind of neutrally flavored, it says. Then you add the yeast mixture back in and kind of mix it around with a paddle until you get a shaggy dough. Once you have that dough nice and mixed up, you just put it in your stand mixer, attach the dough hook, and knead it until it's all nice and smooth. Now, here's the first round. You can see that it's a little bit too loose. So this is where I added a little bit of additional flour. They just said do it a tablespoon at a time. So I did a couple different tablespoons until I saw that it was like nice and thick and stretchy and kind of more this consistency that you see here, where it's sticking on the dough hook but not too sticky. Once I got it to the point where it was kneaded to how I liked it and it looked all good and the right consistency, I dumped it on a floured surface and formed a ball. Now we're gonna have a bulk rise here, so I coated the bowl with olive oil, made the dough into a nice ball, and put it back in the bowl, covered for about 2 hours or until it doubled in size. It says it doesn't necessarily have to completely double in size, but mine did. My yeast, I guess, was very active, so it definitely doubled and it looked very pillowy. All right, this has been rising for 2 hours, so it is nice and like pretty much overly doubled. So we're just gonna dump this out and just clean the counter. It's a pretty nice dough. Okay, so let's get this into a ball, and we're gonna divide this into thirds because we want to roll out each strand and then braid the dough. So let me move this aside and let me get my bench scraper. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of flatten this into little things so I can see what a third would be about. So I'll do this as one, and then here's another one. Okay, so we have our thirds, And now we're just gonna roll each third into these big, long ropes. I think I need to flour just a little bit. I'm actually gonna move some of this dough around here because, there we go. Okay, so I'll set 2 of them aside and we'll just work with 1 at a time. And we're just gonna roll these into kind of long ropes here. Now it's really not supposed to like constrict back, and it doesn't look like mine is. It looks pretty good, you know, kind of when I'm rolling it out, it stays and holds its shape. So I think we're good there. This one is a little bit kind of folding, so there we go. That's a little bit better. Trying to make it even throughout the rope, like the width and stuff. It's not perfect, but it's looking pretty good. Okay, and on to the third one. This dough is like so pillowy and soft. It's way easier to work with actually than I had originally thought, so that's nice. Again, I'm trying to make it kind of even throughout the rope and make them also similar length to each other. Just kind of working that a little bit more. Okay, but we have 3 good ropes here. Now what we're gonna do is line a baking sheet with parchment paper and braid up this loaf. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this directly on the parchment so I don't have to transfer the loaf after it's braided. So I'll do this. We're gonna lay all 3 across. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna start at this far end, I think you can see. And I'm just gonna take all 3 and pinch them together at this end. So it's kind of all combined, fold it under a little bit. And then we're just gonna start doing a normal braid. So we'll put this one over the top here, move this over. We're just gonna do a regular 3-stranded braid. Now the other option is you could also do a 6-stranded braid, and that is pretty common. I thought, you know, it would just be simpler a little bit to start out with the 3-stranded, so that's what we're doing today. But just know that that is an option. So we're just keep doing this all the way down. Sadly, my ropes, I think, are kind of thinning out as I pull them at the bottom, so I'm trying to keep them kind of fluffy here. Okay, once I get to the end, I'm just gonna, again, tuck or pinch all 3 of the strands. And again, I'm gonna just roll it kind of under the edges and under this edge, just like that. Okay, now this is gonna puff up and become even more pillowy here. We cover it with a clean kitchen rag for 1 hour and it will rise. Then we just egg wash and bake. So we're on the home stretch. Somehow I did not record actually putting the challah bread in the oven and taking it out and all that, but here's what it looks like after it was done baking. Literally so perfect, so fluffy, pillowy, amazing. I'll show you a cross section a little bit later, but I know I said I was just gonna split this with my family, but I remember that my grandma used to make with me challah bread French toast. So I decided to recreate this. I just found, you know, I don't know my grandma's exact recipe for it, but I just found a French toast challah bread recipe online. Figured they're all pretty standard. So you just combine some eggs, milk, nutmeg, vanilla, and cinnamon, whisk that all together and dunk each piece of challah bread into that mixture, throw it on a griddle for a little bit with some butter. Now, confession, I forgot the butter for a while, so, you know, some of the later pieces where I remembered were better than the pieces that I forgot, but add some butter to the skillet and fry those up. It makes for a super easy and delicious breakfast. You can just whip up pretty quickly, you know, other than making the entire challah bread for hours the day before. But, you know, a lot of these breads, it does take a long time to make, but it's a lot of downtime. You're only actually doing stuff for about 10 to 15 minutes. So this was a great breakfast that I highly recommend. So enjoy some clips of me making some challah bread French toast. I did not get a reveal, like a taste test reveal clip, which I kind of regret, but I will just come on and tell you the report that this was like the best French toast ever. My husband said it was his favorite that he's ever had. It's nice and thick, fluffy, perfect, and the flavors were just immaculate. I highly recommend this recipe. I will link it in the description below. If you are making challah bread at all, try making challah bread French toast. You will not regret it. And make sure to cut it thick. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Again, make sure to subscribe. It would really, really help me out. I so appreciate it. That is all for this video, and I will see you next week for another one. Bye, everyone.